Oh, I am live. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Regine. I I'm trying to figure out how to manage this live. This is my very first live, and everyone, welcome. I wanted to come on here just to show my face and to introduce myself and get to know you all a little bit as I wait for everyone to come in. I will share some information about me. But before I do that, I do want to apologize for the lateness. I was figuring it out. This is my very first time on YouTube going live. So it is a learning curve. I want to thank you for your patience. And I will just start chit chatting with you all. And while I do that, if you have any questions, any concerns, please do post them on the comment section, in the comment section, and I will respond as soon as I can or as much as I can. And do feel free to engage and share and whatever you want to share. So that way it'll keep the conversation going. It'll keep the conversation flowing. Okay, so like I mentioned before, my name is Regine. I practice as an occupational therapist, and mostly my experiences have been in pediatrics. I think I'm too close to the screen. Yeah, so most of my experiences has been in pediatrics from zero to high school, I would say, and and I've been in this field for over a decade, almost 2 decades. So I'm very well versed in what I do with the population I do work with, which is pediatric um, school. The settings I am most comfortable with only because this is where most of my experiences lie. Is early intervention and school therapy and private clinics. So, yes, I've worked in a skilled nursing home as per diem on and off throughout my career, but never long term. So, I'm not very well versed in that area, but I do have experience in it as well. So, um, when I first started my career as an occupational therapist, I finished my last clinical in pediatric, and I got a job, my first occupational therapy job, with the same facility but a different location. I worked there in I worked there for about a year and a half, and and then 6 months within that, 6 months into working as an occupational therapist in that position, I started doing independent contract work. I felt comfortable doing, I know usually when providers or healthcare providers, usually when they first starting out their career on their own, they don't feel comfortable starting out as an independent contractor, but I did. I want to say from 6 to 8 months because, yeah. So I started doing contract work at a private center, which was owned by a speech therapist, but she hired variety of different disciplines from OT, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Yeah, I think that's it. That was there. So I accepted a couple of cases there, and most of the population I worked with was children who were diagnosed with autism, or, and children who were on the autism spectrum. And I worked in a lot, and some of the children just had global delays, such as fine motor delays and visual motor and self care skills and things like that. So from then on, I was doing that for a while, and then a year and a half into my first job, I should say W-2 job or salary job, I left and I went full blown independent contractor as an OT in that same pediatric center I was working at. And I was seeing mostly early intervention children early in the day, and then later in the day I would see children, school age children. And the reason for that is because of the rules and regulations of the agencies that govern uh, these type of services. For example, early intervention, um, they prefer that the children get services in the home because that's where they are. They're not in schools most of the time, they're home. And also because they want the skill transfer to be a bit more generalized if we go into the home, and of course also the skills that we are teaching the children are the skills they are using at home at that age. Therefore, early intervention, or the Bureau of Early Intervention, push that therapists do go into the school to provide the services. However, there are a lack of providers almost everywhere. So therefore, in order to service the children, there are private centers who are offering early intervention services, and the Bureau of Early Intervention do approve them to do so because they are aware of the um, lack of therapists to provide those services. So some parents do look into that option when they're unable to find a therapist to come into their home. And that's where I came in. But in order to do that as a therapist, I'll have to be approved by the Bureau of Early Intervention to accept those cases. And that was done ahead of time because I had a plan. I know what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to eventually um, I know I wanted to eventually service or provide services for that population. So I did set myself up ahead of time. So then when I did decide to leave my salary job, that I was ready to take on that population as well as the school age population. School age population. Um, Also, there's a setup that has to be done. And at the time, I was providing services for Department of education in New York City, and they do have a process of setting the each provider up before um, accepting different cases to provide the services that we do provide. So that was done ahead of time as well while I was doing my salary job. So from there, I was doing full time with seeing early intervention in school age children. And then I was doing that for a pretty long time. I was doing that for probably for 3, 4, 5 years. I don't recall, but I was doing it for a very long time. And once I was comfortable with my cases and the caseload I was working with and the children, I then I started seeing early intervention children in their homes nearby the pediatric center, so that way commute was easier for me from one setting to the other. So I was seeing a couple of children there, so I was doing that for a while, and then working at the center again, seeing early intervention children and school age children. And then after I was doing that for a while, I eventually left. Um, no, actually, I didn't leave. I stopped doing early intervention in the home. I was still providing services at the center, seeing both population, early intervention and school age. And when I'm saying early intervention, that's age 0 to 3. And then from 3 to 5 are preschool age. That's where I got my first job. It was at a preschool. And then when I say school age, I'm referring to the ages of 5 and up. And mostly it was elementary children, but I did have a couple of middle schoolers at the center as well. So then I decided it was easier if I accepted a position at a school full time. Um, and that way I can finish my day earlier. I would start my day earlier, I would finish my day earlier. And because do remember that I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I meant to. But if I did, it's okay. I'll repeat it. There are time restrictions on when to see the children. So school age starts from after 3 o'clock. So if we're not seeing the children at the school, we couldn't see them during the week. I mean, we couldn't see them. Sorry, we couldn't see them earlier in the day unless we at the school. Outside of the school, it has to be in the afternoon. And then the early intervention children we can see at any time. Yeah, we could see at any time. They're a little bit more flexible, which is why I would fill up, and the center will fill up my schedule or any therapist schedule early in the day with early intervention children, and then later in the afternoon with school age children. But because of that, to kind of like have like a fluid schedule where there aren't a lot of gaps, I would start my day later sometimes. I would start from filling my schedule from from 2, then move up 3 and 4, and I mean 2, 1, then 12, then 11, and 10, and so on and so forth. But I wanted to start my day earlier and then finish my day earlier. So I decided to accept school positions. And I was doing that for a very long time. So school would start most schools start at 8 or 8:30. Couple of time started at 7:30. So I would start my day around 8:30 or 8, and then school ends to 2:30, depends on when what time they start and what time they end. And then from then I would go to the pediatric center and see a couple of cases, and then I will go home a little bit earlier. So I did that for a very, 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 very long time, and I preferred it. I enjoyed it. I preferred it over salaried. I had more flexibility. I was getting a higher rate. I had more independence in terms of um, my schedule, um, and doing things. I most of the decisions I had to make, not some necessarily someone telling me when to do it. However, there is still collaboration that do happen, and interdisciplinary interactions that do happen, and that's necessary for the well-being of the children. And of course everyone is open to that, because that's why we're in the business. I mean, not in the business, but that's why we do what we do. We do it so that we can help children, be more independent, and so that they can live a more purposeful and fulfilled life. So therefore we have to work with one another to for the betterment of the children. And there was no issue with that. I had no issue with that. It was just that um, it just made more sense for me to do it. And there are a lot of reasons why there are a lot of reasons to go that route. And I'm not saying that everyone have to do it the way I did it. Everyone don't have to quit their salary job just to do independent contract work. Both can be done. As a matter of fact, in my field, almost everyone do it, because oftentimes the salary job we get is never enough. It's not enough to cover our life expenses. So a lot of us do it. So therapists who work in the schools usually go to a nursing home, a skilled nursing home at the end of the school day, which usually ends around 3:30, and or they'll do early intervention at the end of the day, like I was doing. And or they can also do evaluations at the end of the day or whenever. So it's like the norm. It's like the norm to do that. So it's not unheard of. Most people probably don't do it as a full time, but they do it. So yeah. And then also I'm just trying to see if I'm showing using another device. So be a little patient with me. Okay. I'm just trying to see. I think it is. Okay. I don't know how to open it though. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I did that for a little bit. I did that for a little bit. No, not for a little bit, for a while. And I think I want to say 2014. I went to California because I've always wanted to do travel therapy, and I wanted to go to California. I didn't want to go anywhere else. California where I wanted to go, and I didn't want to try anywhere else before California. So I upped and leave. I upped and left to California for I did it for about a year, a school year. And then I came back and I went to Boston. I mean, not Boston, I went to Massachusetts. And I did stay in Massachusetts for about a year as well. I stayed a school year. It wasn't a school travel position job. It wasn't a travel position job, but it was a regular job. It was a at a preschool, and it was just a regular independent contract position. And I did evaluations and treatments. And toward the middle part, the middle of of being there, mid about halfway of being there, I was doing evaluation only because there was a quota there. They hired a quota to do the two quotas actually, eventually. They started with one. And then when they had one, I was doing both treatment and evaluation. But then afterwards, they hired another quota. A quota is a certified occupational therapy assistant. So to when there were two quotas and I was the only OTR, I was doing the evaluations and the quotas were doing treatment until the end of the school year. And then I came back. I was in New York, and I think then I started going back. I went back to the school full time as a contract work. I was doing that only because I decided I wasn't going to do two jobs anymore. So I was doing either two schools on alternate days or one school. Preferably, I would want one school, but sometimes depends on when doing the school you start. I get a school. Sometimes the all full time schools are gone because it's that's like a whole different bureaucracy that goes into that. But yeah, um, so I did that for a couple of years. So I say all that to say most of my most of my school year, I'm not my school year, most of my experiences have been in school and early intervention. And I do evaluations too, also with the same population. Just easier, when you do something for so long, it becomes second nature. So, so it's just easier to keep working with that population. And I do enjoy working with children because someone looking from the outside in think we're playing, but there are scientific research behind what we do. It's not just play. So if someone else is doing the same thing we're doing, we we know what we're targeting by doing certain things. And sometimes it may seem that we're working on something and you're thinking, why is she doing that? Because you should be working on this. Why is she working on that? But that's because there's a scientific reason why we do what we do. So it's not just play, although it is play, but it's not just, oh, they're playing. But I do enjoy it because I'm playing as work for work. It's like I'm playing, it's fun. Children's are fun, they're it's a wonderful career. It's a nice career. It's a nice field, I should say. I enjoy what I do and the population I do work with. So Anyway, but I also want to share when I was starting as an occupational therapist that a lot of us didn't a lot of at the time I started, social media wasn't as it was a lot of people were using it for fun, I would say probably. So social media wasn't as give me 1 second. I'm sorry about that. So social media wasn't people wasn't people weren't using social media as much to educate, I should say, or using it for business or using it to network. That wasn't a thing. So so I didn't get the as I was starting, I didn't get the support I think I would benefit from. You know what I mean? I didn't get that support. I wish there were people that could help. And I did reach out a lot to different people to see if I can get support in any way. Because although I was comfortable doing treatment, I was comfortable doing evaluations, but when you're doing things as an independent provider, setting yourself up, knowing who to reach out for, what type of what would application you would need to fill out and things like that, I didn't know, so I had to it took a very long time to figure everything out. It took extremely long time to figure everything out because I would ask and then I would do this and then find out this and then figure this out and then I'm not finding anything and then I stop and then I start again and it was just a whole thing. So give me 1 second again. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm back. No more interruptions. Okay, so it was difficult. It was difficult at first when I was starting out. Like it was difficult. So I didn't have the support, I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have it. But um And I do notice now as well, people, providers who are starting out are having a hard time. They have a lot of questions about the same things I had questions about when I was starting. Now I know it's different for every discipline, who in every setting. It's not the same, of course. I know most of my experience is in pediatric. It's with Department of Education in New York City. It's Bureau of Early Intervention in New York State, um, as an independent contractor. So, and I know there are independent contractors in healthcare, or people in healthcare who wants to start as an independent contractor, but who are not occupational therapists, or who are occupational therapists but wants to be an independent provider, providing, doing something else, working in a different setting, or providing a service to a different type of population, or innovated, created a whole different type of service that don't even exist, which they feel like would benefit a certain population, and that's fine. And that's not what I'm here to help with. That's not what I'm here to support and provide guidance with, because I know each provider are well versed in what they do. Even with providers who come up with a whole different niche that doesn't even exist yet, it's just something they feel that is needed or will benefit a certain population. Um, in order to come up with that, that's an indication that you are well versed in what you do to even realize a, a deficit or a lack thereof in what you do, and decide to want to do more, to provide more. And I just realized I'm not in the center of the camera, but at this point, it is what it is, right? Let me see. Okay, um, so I'm 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 here to provide support and guidance to whomever needed to get started. That's different. And that's the disadvantage, I think healthcare providers struggle with. When other people decide to be an independent provider in a different field outside of healthcare, I'm sure, well, I can't say that. They probably do experience the same thing. But we as healthcare providers do have a like additional steps that we have to take to provide services to different population, because we're in healthcare, you know. And I get it, because people have to be monitored, because we're we're working with people's health, so I get it. I get the precautions that are being taken to ensure that our clients are safe. And because of that, it does add on to the responsibilities that we have to take care of. Let's just be honest. It is what it is. So, and let's say someone say a physical therapist wants to provide, they're working in the schools and they want to do some independent contract work. They have to know the rules of the facility they're working in, and then they have to decide what setting they want to work in, and what step they need to do to set themselves up, what type of documents they need to have, and then go through the process, getting in touch with the specific, um, getting in touch with the specific agency to do that. And when I say agency, I don't mean staffing agency and sort of and things like that. I mean, you know, either city or governmental agencies, the ones who cut the checks, really. So, um, well, they cut the original checks. So that's what I mean by that, you know? So, and yeah, so that's why I'm here, to provide that support for anyone that have questions, or that wants guidance, that don't have the time, because time is money, right? You can make money, but you can make money back, but you cannot make time back. That's what they say. so, so that's what it is, so anyway, so I provide a variety of services and support. And if there's anything, if you my link, my information, there's a link in the description, and if you want to go browse and see what type of services I provide. And and then if there's anything that you have questions about, and you have no idea how to get started, I can assist you with that. I mean, I like, even if I don't know, I will find out, because I like to know these things as well. There are a lot of agencies that are looking for contractors, because it seems like a lot of healthcare fields don't have enough providers. It just doesn't exist. And of course, and then there are some of us that do have the time, and have the desire to do more. And that's why I'm here for. That's who I'm here for the people who have the time and have the desire to do more, because more is needed, you know? So, um, so let's talk about payment, money, making money, right? Uh, Honestly, we're not working for free, right? We're working for an incentive. We're working to make money as well. Although we do enjoy what we do, we love the fact that we're making a difference in our clients' lives. You know, that is that is the push. That is the purpose. But of course, we want to be compensated for our time, because we have to pay to live. We have life is not cheap. So, with that being said, we'll talk about that compensation rates, payments for a little bit. Um, so, there are different ways independent contractors can get paid. um, independent contractor in healthcare can get paid, like guaranteed, if you accept health insurance. It's like I want an extra da 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 da. You decide how much extra you want. You know the setting you want to work in, and then you set yourself up. And if you know the rate already, you do your math. You know how many cases you'll need. You know what area you want to be in, or what settings you. That's separate. Like that's something that you have to personally decide on your own. And know how you want to get paid, because that plays a part in your decision making, right? So if you are if you want to accept um health insurance, you don't, or you want to work for an agency and that's how they reimburse, and some of them want you to, a lot of those agents, especially the city ones, want you to be Medicaid providers because a lot of them get compensated that way. Or if you are in want to provide care for the elderly, um, Medicare is very, very popular, meaning like a lot more people are on Medicare, a lot more governmental city agencies accept Medicare, Medicaid. So it just makes sense to enroll in those two. So knowing where you want to end up, you know what I mean? So um, there's those two, and that doesn't mean you can't enroll in the other type of insurance. I call them third party insurance. Um, and there's a plethora of them out there. Which one do you decide to accept? Most private practices that just want to grow their practice, except apply for, almost their goal is to apply for as many as they can. The only reason why an agent, not an agent, a private practice wouldn't accept an insurance or stop accepting an insurance is because if they don't pay them, or if they don't pay them high enough as they feel like they should. I don't know. It's never happened to me, and I couldn't tell you what their reasons are, but I know they all do not accept every insurance, and you have a choice to do so or not. It's not like it's not like you have to pay them to enroll as a provider. You don't, it's free. If someone is enrolling you, you have to pay them to enroll you. You're paying for the service. However, you don't pay for to enroll in Medicaid. But Medicare, you have to pay for Medicare to enroll. Medicaid, you don't pay to enroll. And so you can play for so you can enroll in insurance to get paid that way. Or if the agency you want to work for, the population you want to provide the services for require you to, then you have to. Or if you want to go a different route for reimbursement, then you pay for, then you can get paid. um, you can accept private pay, and you can accept private pay either way. Either you accept insurance or not. But I think it gets tricky if you would have to make sure your clients don't have, I know Medicare for sure. I don't know much about billing, but I've heard over and over and over and over that Medicare for sure it gets tricky with private pay. Like if a Medicare client comes to you and wants to pay you cash versus using Medicare, that's a big no-no. You can't do it. You're not supposed to. But you can use private pay, and let's decide you just want to do private pay. That's just a whole different ball game because you got to do a lot more with private pay in terms of marketing. You have to work a lot more to get your clients. One, because your clients, most people have insurance and they want to use their insurance. They don't want to pay cash. They don't. Us in the other side of the spectrum, us in the other side of it, as a provider, we know the ins and out of billing and things like that. It's a little bit easier to accept cash. So I know why we do it. I'm a provider. I know why we do it. But at the same time, I'm a client to other providers as well. And I know that clients prefer to use their insurance if they have it. But if you decide not to take insurance at all and you want to do private pay, you can do that. You can do that. And you just have to know how to find your clients. So right now, if I want to do private pay with the same population I've been working with, then I would know how to do it. I'll know where to go to get my clients. I've never tested it. Maybe I should see if it'll work. But I have an idea how I would go about it. Now, will it work or not? I'm not sure. But because I know where they are, I know where my ideal, my target audience is. I know where they are. I know where to find them. So, um, would I get as many calls as I do because I accept Medicaid and Medicare? No. But I've had clients call before who wants a private evaluation or want treatment privately, but and their reason is because they don't want to deal with the different agencies. They just want to pay out of pocket. They don't mind. They'll ask if I take their insurance. I would tell them not yet. And they'll say, okay, do you accept private pay? And I would say, oh, sure, yeah, I do. And they'll ask me for the rate. I'll tell them, and they'll say, okay, cool. And then we will take it from there. But you can do that as well. And then what else? Insurance, health insurance, private pay, and the third party health insurance. This means the same thing. And then with private pay, you depends on what kind of work you do. I know some say that it's unprofessional to do certain payment of methods versus others. I'll leave that to your discretion. But you could also always accept credit card. You could accept checks. You can accept PayPal. You can accept cash. Just make sure you give receipt, to name a few. but that's your discretion, and I'm not telling you that's what you should do and that's what you shouldn't do. But I know I've come across different providers who do private pay options with private pay options, and those do occur. So I thought I would just mention them. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. And then what else? And then, setting yourself up legally, that's something else as well. Um, Depends on the agency, they might ask for different things. So that depends on how they want it. I mean, can you start as an independent provider as you are? It's just a decision. I decide to. Yeah, you can. And can you use your social? Yes, you can. You can use your social. People have used their social. I think when I first 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 started, um, I think I use it. I use my social. But what you do need is an NPI. You need an NPI. If you're starting as an independent provider in healthcare, you need an NPI. You need an NPI. And the NPI is to just track you along your journey as an independent provider, providing that service you're providing, you know? So that's your NPI. You need that NPI, and then you can get started. So there's that. Um, who can be an independent provider? Anybody. Re- Whether you're in healthcare or not, if you provide a service, you're well versed, you can work on your own, you can be independent, make your decision, know what you're doing, and you want to go out there and do work and provide services, you can do that as long as you know how to find your clients. You can do that, you know? So it's easier probably for someone outside of healthcare providers. Let's say, for example, someone who, let's see, let's say a plumber. I mean, I know they need licenses, but they already have that because they're working as a plumber, just like I already have my license working as an occupational therapist. So, insurance, okay, you would need insurance. The plumber would need insurance as well. Sometimes working for an establishment as a salaried provider, oftentimes you don't need it because you're covered under that agency or employer, I should say. But when you're stepping out, you need to have you need to have your you need to have insurance, because in case something happened, you don't want to be sued, especially if you're not doing it under a registered business. If you're using your social, you're leaving yourself for liability, and you don't want that. So you need insurance. And then NPI and insurance, that's what you need, you know? So what else? I think I covered who, when, can you start, of course, is when you feel comfortable to. You just decide I'm doing it, and then you just do it. Where? You decide where. You know where you want to. I know I wanted to do it I know I wanted to do it at a school. I know I wanted to do it at an early intervention. Every time I know I wanted to do early intervention. So before, once I make decision, oh, I want to serve the early intervention population. I know it, and then I decide, and then I take the steps. And I just want to encourage you all to no, not be afraid to step into your greatness. Not be afraid to follow through, because we can easily talk ourselves away from things that we want to do. You know, because a lot of time we would say, "Oh, I want to do this," or one day, you know what I want to do. I would like to. I would love to do this. I would. You can do it. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do it. And every time you mention that, what I would like to do, oh, one day I would love to do this, whatever it is that you want to do, look into it and start. A lot of time we say we want to do something, but because we don't know anything about it. We want to do it, but we don't know how would I start that? Or how can I get more information to get that started? And I know it may seem daunting to find the information you want because you don't know where to start, but you have to try looking into it. You don't have to, but try looking into, if it's that desirable, if you're that passionate about it, I would say, give yourself that push and just look into it. Find some information about it. Find the people who are doing it. Yeah, ask them question. How did you get started? It's one thing to try something and decide, no, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not what I want to do. I tried it. I was interested. I was curious. I thought it was a desire of mine. And you know what? After finding out everything I have to find out, or you did find it out and you did go ahead and try it, and you're like, it looked good when I was out looking in, but now I'm in it. It's not my cup of tea. But guess what? You won't regret. You would live a life without regret. I mean, I'm not saying you won't. You'll try everything you want, but you should try everything you want to try. Well, unless it's a safety reason or whatever else. But if it's something you want to do it. Sometimes we want to do something, but once we do it, it's like, yeah, nah. Next. That's not my cup of tea. That's not my juice. Okay, I tried it. It didn't work for me. It is what it is. I'm moving on, and then keep it moving. That's fine. And then let's say something else, some other desire you wanted to try. Try it. Try it. You never know. It might stick. If we don't try the things we want to do and find out, you know, and experience that on our own to know, do I really want to do this or do I not want to do this? We would never know. And when we don't try something we want to try, then we live a life of regret. We live a life of regrets. Then we'll always say, I wanted to try this, I wanted to try that, I wanted to try this, I wanted to try that. And I never did. As you start getting older, then you say, oh, I've always wanted to do this and I've always wanted to do that. And you might regret not trying. But if you did try and found out then that, yeah, that's not for me. But now because you didn't try, you carrying that with you and it wasn't even for you. You know what I mean? So if you can, if time permits, because sometimes life gets in the way. Life, do what life does. So life does what that life, just life. We living life and things happen and you can't. Um, if you try later on, but always try to say, I'm gonna, even if you start and you have to pause for a minute because life gets in the way, always pick up, always try continue doing it. And then if you decide this is not my cup of tea, nah, I'm good, no. It's okay. You tried and for sure, for sure, for sure. And then you won't regret it later on saying, oh, I wanted to try this and I wanted to try that. And then it wasn't even something you would have really liked anyway, but you never tried. So you'll never know. Right? Yeah. So if you have the desire to be an independent contractor, um, because sometimes starting as a full-blown business can be a bit intimidating for some. And oftentimes, especially people in healthcare, do start as an independent provider unless they know for sure I want a brick and mortar clinic and I want employees, blah 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 blah. Then of course you have to be registered and do all that other stuff legally to cover you, so you'll be ready to go, set to go. But if it's just you just want to provide the service, you can start as easy as with a DBA, or your social if you want to. And yeah, so if you have any questions, I'm not sure if this live is going to post on my YouTube, if I'll have the option for it, because I was getting some type of notes that it may not. This is my first live, so I don't know. I'm learning as I go. I did do some research on how to do the live, and I was under the impression I could have just started, but apparently not. So I will, if I do have access to this live, then I will leave it posted. If not, I'll probably, I don't know, it out for my next live on what to do in terms of having the live with me. Not having it with me, but having it recorded so that I can keep it up. If you are watching this live after it's posted, if it is posted, please leave a comment below. Share with me what industry you're in, if you're in healthcare, if you're or not in healthcare, if you are interested in independent contract work, And if you do, what type of population do you want to serve? What type of payment would you like to receive? Cash, health insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. That's health insurance too, but that's the service I provide mostly. Not that I can help you with other ones, but I just want to emphasize, if you want to accept Medicaid, Medicare, then comment that below, and how soon you would like to start. And also, have you done independent contract work before? Are you looking to do independent contract work somewhere else? And if you've done it before, what advice do you have for people who want to do it? What are some pros to it? If you want to share cons, you can too as well. And I would like you all to find the time to go on my description and view some of the services I provide. I do consultation for if you want to enroll in Medicaid or Medicare on your own. You don't need someone to do it for you. However, you need some guidance. I have that service available. If you want someone to do it for you, I have those services available as well. The NPI, if you want to do it yourself, I can also guide you through it with a consultation. I also have a do it yourself guidebook. Um, if you want to do if you want to do your NPI on your own, you can get the book, the guidebook. It'll tell you step by step on what to do. And the other consultations I have is for, let's see, occupational, if you're an occupational therapist, but that's not listed there though. But you can also comment below. If you're an occupational therapist, you want to get into early intervention, Department of Education, you just want to get started on how to go about it, I can support you. And if anything, if I didn't mention anything that you feel like you need, or you know that you need support in, comment below. Comment below and let me know what you're struggling with, what you're not struggling with, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Let me know if you enjoy working as an independent contractor, if you do work as an independent contractor. So, and ask me any questions that you want answers to, and I will gladly make a video and share with you or address it in the next live. I will try to do a live once a week, and depends on how often or how much you the viewers want to know or want to learn, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I greatly appreciate you for being here, and I greatly appreciate you for following this channel. And um, I I don't know everything, but I do know what I know. And if you know, and I'm sure some of you know certain things I don't know, so please do share. I'm open to learning. I love to learn. And so we're here to learn with each other, from each other, and here to learn and here to build this community of independent contractor in healthcare, and we can grow and be great and do what we want to do and do what we love to do. Again, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. And hopefully, I will see you in the next live. And do subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And please share with other healthcare providers, rather, rather they they want to be an independent provider or not. You never know. They probably don't know certain things, or maybe something would spark a the desire. You never know. So I just want build this community with with us, and to support and guide each other through this journey. And being an independent provider can be lonesome. It can get lonely at times because you're in the field by yourself. If you have a job, great, you have colleagues and co-workers, but when you're independent, sometimes you on your own out there. So it warms your heart, when someone is going through the same thing, is doing the same thing, and you can network with them, you talk the same talk, because it's not the same from a salary a contractor. Yes, we can talk about treatment and evaluations. Yeah, those are the same. However, the documentation and billing and scheduling, it's different. And a salary, someone who does salary and never work as an independent contractor would never, well, they would never get it. They would never get it. So it's good to be among like-minded people, who gets us, and who we can bounce ideas from, who we can share support and guidance to. And so I am glad I we have this platform, and it's not my platform, it's our platform. So thank you again for being here. And I hope and wish you have a great night and a great summer. And happy July, by the way. Today's the first day of July. Happy July. Um, Enjoy the weather. Go outside, go for walks, go to the beach. Enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones, enjoy your colleagues, enjoy each other, network, have fun, enjoy life. Again, thank you so much for being here. And I will see you all in the next live, okay? All right, take care. Bye bye.